Alright, hello and welcome to League of Vloggers. This is episode 34.
Mm-hmm. You always look at me so, worried that it's wrong.
Well, for 2 weeks it was wrong. I was like, didn't know until after the fact that I'm half challenged. But, that being said, episode 34, tonight we are discussing the end of groups. Mm-hmm. Tonight's co-hosts, as always, we got Kurtis James, me most of the time, Chase Viking Redbeard. We are still missing Heather. Hopefully she comes back to join us soon.
Yeah. We do have beer, so.
Yeah. She doesn't partake in beer, but.
No.
But that being said, we can get right into groups.
Yeah.
We caught the final 39 matches or whatever that bullshit was.
Let's see. It would be, it was 6 per group, plus 2 tiebreakers, so 26 games.
Yeah, there's a lot of fucking games.
Yeah. There's quite a few games.
So, at the end of groups, we saw 3 teams go winless. We saw one team, they picked up 1 win out of their 6 games.
Yeah. No teams went undefeated, though. Not a single team went undefeated.
Yeah, that's true.
Every team dropped 1 game. The winner of every group dropped 1 game, I believe, right? No, I guess 1 winner dropped 2 games, but yeah.
Yep. And I'm assuming that was a tiebreaker game.
Yeah. Well, no. They so Group B, FPX and Splice both went 4-2, and then they had a tiebreaker off that. Yeah. But yeah. So they had lost 2 in the normal group rounds.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah. So when I discuss records, I generally don't include the tiebreaker in it because it's not quite the same thing, in my opinion.
Sure. And with that being said, all 3 LCS teams did get bumped out, unfortunately.
They did.
They brought great shame to our region.
Mm-hmm. So, okay. I'm actually going to start I want to start in Group C. Because as much as Clutch was in a group of death and did as they were expected to, finishing last in that group, and they did a little worse than I had hoped, going actually 0-6. On the front half, they looked real bad. In the second set of 3... that last day, I honestly, I saw some good shit from Clutch. They actually played Fnatic really close. Now, some people can say, oh, that backdoor call was bad. Yes, it was. Were they going to win that game anyway? No, they're probably going to lose, fighting Fnatic at their own base in that fight anyway.
Yep.
But it would have been better to try and fight there, and if you get that fight, then, TP top or whatever, if you had TP up, I don't remember. There is a better option than what they did. But they fought that game very close. They played RNG pretty damn close. They had some good stuff against SKT, even though SKT, they've looked like the best team in the tournament, and they doo-dooed them hard at the end. Doo-dooed them so hard. But yeah, Clutch, we've been fans of what they've done in the back half of the summer split, and then, of course, playoffs, and, of course, their gauntlet run. And then at Worlds, they've looked pretty shaky on and off. They did really well in the game to make it out of play-ins, that best of 5. They 3-0'd and looked great.
Yep.
And then group stage, obviously, scale of competition went up, and they struggled. But at the end, they were coming up to their competition a bit. And so that gives me hope, yet again, heading into next year for them, that they will adjust and they'll do good things.
Yeah. That
team got some really good experience under their belt, and I think it showed by the end of those 6 games that they will do something. I mean, obviously, Huni already had that experience on his belt. Cody's done a little bit. But I think, that especially DeMonte and Vulcan, that experience was indispensable, and they've taken something from this experience, and hopefully they roll forward with that, and they don't disappoint us next year.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty excited that they did as well as they did. I didn't have high hopes. I thought that they might have picked up a game. Unfortunately, that did not happen.
Yeah, I thought they would.
Yeah, I kind of thought they would as well, but, I mean, they were against 3 of the best teams in the world. Undisputed. You can't tell me that these are not 3 of the best teams in the world.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think in most other years, all 3 of these teams make it out. In this year, even possibly. I think there's 2 teams who didn't make it out of groups who could have if they were in B. Mm-hmm. Possibly 3. Well, actually, probably 4 if I'm very honest. But there's 1, 2, 3, 4 teams who could have gotten out if Group B was drawn differently. I also think, like, we'll discuss C and then we'll move to B just because, like, the stacked group and the least stacked group. I think this year will hopefully change the pool system a little bit for next year.
I don't think it will.
I hope they go 3 pools in the groups. I think there should be the number ones, the 4 number 1 seed pools. There should be 4 number 2s, like 4, second pool, and then 4 third pools, and then the play-in. That's how it should go. Because, and you know what? The thing about that is, NA totally would deserve to be like they'd still be a 1 pool just because LMS still can't fucking get it done. So they'd have a 1 pool and then probably a 3 and a 4 pool. And that's fucking fine. Because when it comes down to it, like, you should have to earn your spots, and you cannot tell me the LMS still deserves to have even 2 pool 2 teams. They should have a pool 2, 3, and only because they're combining with another region, they still get like a play-in pool 1, so pool 4 team, whatever you want to fucking call it.
Sure.
Like, it's ridiculous how badly they perform year after year, and they still have all of those. And that goes on NA as well, because like I said, the only reason that we would still have a number 1 seed is because there's not a 4th region who has earned a number 1.
Sure.
Like, and I'm totally fine with going, okay, yeah, Korea, China, you guys get 2 number 2 seeds or whatever. One of them does, and then Europe gets the other one along with them. Like, that's fine. They fucking earned that. But LMS, like, them having the seeds they have gums up the works and allows a draw like that to happen.
Yeah, this was pretty unfortunate how these 2 pools worked themselves out. Like, Group of Death sucks. Like,
yeah, but it always is going to happen. That's going to happen no matter what, because even if we go to, like, what I said, where, say, NA has the 2 pool 3 teams, cool, so what, you end up with a number 1 seed from wherever, a number 2 seed who's now very likely it's China 1, Korea 2, and then your 3rd seed could still be Europe. Like, okay, and then your 4th team comes in from, NA, whatever. Like, you can still end up with this same group, even if you change it. Like, there's always going to be a group of death. Especially because I feel like this year, there's been more good teams than the last 2 years for sure. And honestly, more than going back further than that.
I want to disagree with chat for a second. We did not all know Clutch was going to go 0-6. We knew Clutch was going to take 4th place, but
yeah,
we had hopes. I figured they would have at least pulled a game somewhere.
Yeah, I felt like it was very 50-50, honestly. Because, even we saw Fnatic on day 1 did not look that great. The game they did look good on was the one against Clutch. And then set 2, they go fucking 3-0. Like, teams show up in very disparate ways, and that's the thing. You can have a team just, like, fucking hard drop a game that you wouldn't expect. You could say that even about Group D, which, we talked about last week. Damwon dropping 1 to TL. Well, they went 3-0 this week. Like, you can't tell me you would have seen Damwon from this week and be like, oh yeah, they'll totally drop a game. No, you would, like, or SKT, like, last week, you'd think they would drop one this week? No. Like, it just happens. Now, is Clutch as good as those other 3 teams? No, they're not.
Yep, agreed.
But we see bigger upsets. We saw fucking FPX drop a game to J-Team to start that group. Like, shit. So, Group C, though, SKT making it out on the top. Fnatic just edging out RNG, that last match of the day, to be 4-2 over the 3-3 RNG. SKT, I think, looks like the scariest team in the tournament right now.
It kind of looks like they're still kind of holding back, too. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they've got more in the tank that they're not showing us yet.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's frightening to think about. But yeah, they look like, classic Evil Empire SKT right now. Faker's playing really good, and he's got a lot of great players around him. Mm-hmm. Teddy's popping on. Like, I'm not going to go through it because just literally every lane. Like, all of them are playing really well. It doesn't seem like that team has a weak spot. And their macro's good. And it's funny because last year, that quick aggressive play dominated, and even at MSI it did. And SKT, while more aggressive than, say, classic Korean play, is still very measured and somewhat slower. Like, they do, still choke you out hard when you make a mistake, but it's not about being crazy aggressive early. And I wonder if, it's still just like, hey, that's the best way to play it this year, or if it's a little bit of an artifact of group stages, because there's a lot of players saying that, like, they were playing too cautiously, too nervous. If in the when you get into that best of 5, teams just fucking let it fly. Because there's that big difference between best of 1s and best of 5s. You drop a fucking, RNG, they dropped one more game than Fnatic. Well, they're home. Like, it's such a big deal to drop a game in group stage. So, it's very possible, I don't know if it's likely though, that in the knockout stage we see these teams go crazy and just, we see some ham moments. Yeah, I know. Fnatic though, they also look good. They definitely got it together. They backed off those mage bot lanes and played reckless on 80 carries, and they looked good doing it. Whippo, who had Whippo and Broxa both, who looked very mediocre compared to what they should be in the first week, looked great in week 2, and I think that shorted up. Nemesis has kind of been consistent the whole time, but that's something we've said about him all year, like when we have brought up EU, is that Caps has higher highs, but lower lows. He's more inconsistent. Nemesis, very good player, but he has like a much smaller window. He doesn't like fucking he's not craps and claps. He's just Nemesis. And he was good. He was good the whole time. It was the rest of the team getting their shit together and meeting up with them. So I think Fnatic looking good going into round 2, but not SKT good. And I think RNG had a lot of holes in that team. And by holes, I mean the top half of the map is not as good as the other. The other top teams in this tournament, their top half of the map is just better.
Yeah.
Plain better than RNG's is. That's my opinion anyway. Thoughts on Group C?
Group C, no, I'm pretty much done with Group C. Everyone looks good. SKT, I would be surprised if they lose Worlds this year. Like, I mean, granted, we have a whole nother set of knockouts before we even get to the finals, but
2 rounds.
Yeah.
It's quarters and semis.
So we've got 2 more rounds before we get to the finals. Like, SKT is looking so good. They're starting off against Splice, which should be a pretty hopefully an easy win for them, and then they go off against either Damwon or G2. I still think SKT looks better there. I wouldn't be surprised to see them work their way through the end of the bracket. No, Group C, Fnatic surprised me a little bit. I kind of thought RNG was going to overtake Fnatic, but I also think that in my pick'ems, I think this is the only group I got 100% right.
I had RNG and Fnatic making it out, and that was me just doubting the players, the newer players of SKT, and honestly, like, I'm going to be fully honest. When it came down to pick'ems, I had a lot of chalk, which would have been a lot of right. And I was like, shit always gets fucked up, and I picked some weird shit. But, like, if you look at the chalk coming in this tournament, if you go, like, okay, ignore that last year Korea had 3 people dropped out. Who wins these groups? Well, Koreans win all 3 of their groups. Great, you got all 3 of those right. Now look at everybody else. G2 should make it out of their group as well. Good, you're right. Okay, let's go to Group C. Fnatic or RNG. Okay, that one you probably would have said RNG over Fnatic, and so you'd have that one wrong. Group D, you're like, well, NA 1 seed never makes it out, and it's China 2. Well, China 3 technically, but IG's former world champion. We give it to them. Cool. Guess what? You got fucking 2 groups exactly right. One group you got one thing wrong, and then you go to Group B, and you're like, oh, well, it's 2-0 regions in Europe's 3. That's good enough. Europe 3 makes it. Oh, guess what? You got 3 groups exactly fucking right. If you had just gone chalk, you got one thing wrong.
Yep.
Period. And I had really close to that at first, but I was like, nah, shit always gets screwy. And so I, like, went with, like, some ideas of, okay, this is how shit could get weird, and, like, what these are this team's weaknesses and shit. And no, I should have just gone chalk.
Yeah, so Group C, no real upsets in my mind. Like, the only thing that would have potentially been, like, different is RNG makes it out instead of Fnatic. I didn't see SKT losing this. But that's all I got for Group C.
All right, well, let's jump to Group B then, because let's go from that crazy stacked group to the crazy weak one.
Splice coming out hot from those knockouts.
After looking poor in the first set of groups.
They went for 5 games against Unicorns of Love. Unicorns of Love looked pretty bad.
I think Unicorns of Love makes it out of the Group B as well, honestly. I think Group
Probably.
B is just so fucking weak. Like, if it was Unicorns, them and J-Team would have been a little closer in the running, but when it came down to it, like, no. And Gam underwhelmed. I was disappointed. I was hoping they would be super aggressive and they were just super sloppy.
Yeah, I caught Frostgaren calling them Gigabyte Marines.
Yeah,
a couple times.
It's the same team. They just rebranded.
Yeah, because I mean they're not sponsored by Gigabyte anymore.
Exactly.
So, but no, Gam looked bad. Like none of their games, I was like, oh, they played that really well. Like even the game they won, I'm like, meh, that was still pretty mediocre at best.
Yeah.
Like that's like I could go find some silver gold players and we could probably beat you. I'm not gonna actually try to do that because they'd probably stop me. But
just a bit.
Splice making it out of groups was a bit of a surprise for me. I ranked them number 4 in my pick'ems.
Yeah.
And they made it out. That's
I put them
crazy.
4 because I mean once again I was looking at like craziness a little bit, but also I was putting a lot of weight on how they looked in play-ins where they did not look convincing.
No, they didn't look good at all, which is why I put them so low. But I didn't realize that the other 3 teams in this fucking group was going to be garbage.
So FPX, that's okay. So the curious one out here is Fun Plus Phoenix, right? FPX. They are the number 1 seed coming off China. They were, obviously number 1 seed. They were very dominant in China. They did so well. They were better than RNG. They were better than IG, and like throughout the season, and then of course the playoffs to earn this seed. And we saw them drop the first game to J Team. Cool, first game of the tournament. Maybe you're just fucking playing like shit, like especially because these guys have never been to an international. I get it, but then they also on day 2 dropped a game to Splice. This is the weakest one coming out of the group stage.
Yep.
Like they won Group B. You cannot tell me they would have won Group A, C, or D. I don't believe you.
No, not even a little bit.
Unless they need unless what they need to be a better team is like the punch in the mouth that like clears their head, and oh man, we would have gone 1-2 on day 1 and then 3-0 day 2 possibly because they got their shit together. But right as it stands right now, they didn't have any teams to push them at all. I mean, like Splice, maybe they're like a nudge, but Splice is not as good as any of the other teams in the bracket. Splice is the worst of the 8 teams still alive, and Fun Plus, from what they've played so far, is number 7. Now.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know that they have the talent and ability to be way better than that. But the question is, will they be way better than that? And it's such a fucking hard question.
I don't have high hopes for this group at all. Like I think Fun Plus is going to be out first round. I think Splice is going to be out first round. I mean,
Splice is
granted,
done.
they're going against SKT.
Yeah, they're fucked.
But like, yeah, this was. I'm surprised. Kudos to them for making it out of groups. But, yeah, this was, like you said, the weakest group that I've seen in a long time.
And then, of course, the bracket happened to end up being Group B and C, weak and strong, fucking matched up across each other.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know what to say. I mean, kudos to Splice making it a 3-0 out of groups for EU. But, man, was every other region wishing that their fucking 3C could have been in there. Because, I mean, Hong Kong Attitude maybe could have made it out there for all I fucking know. I doubt it. But, like, if Clutch had was able to be in that group, then they would have gotten out of it. I fully believe Clutch could have made it out of that group. No question.
Yo.
And then if Damwon, obviously. But and speaking of Damwon, one of the other teams to come out of groups. Actually, you know what? No, let's go to Group A. We're going to finish in Group D. I think Group D's probably got more to talk about. So Group A, unless you have a last thought on B?
No, I was going to say Group A was probably the most disappointing group for me.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, in terms of, like, how it went. Like,
so Group A, G2 Griffin, Cloud9, and Hong Kong Attitude. Hong Kong Attitude going 0-6. J-Team, by the way, the only team from the LMS to win any games. They went 3-3. AHQ and HKA, both going 0-6. Lending back into my argument from earlier, there's no way in hell this region deserves 2 seeds.
Yep.
Like, and I know right now the 2 pool's huge, but fuck it. I mean, hell, if you went to like a 4 pool thing, you know, and 4 being the one that comes in, and it's like 1, 2, because right now it's 1, 2, 2, 3.
mm-hmm.
If it went to 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll come back actually way later after all the group stuff. Duct had something about an idea he has for group stage, what he'd like to see, but we'll come back to that. But if it went to 1, 2, 3, 4, I wouldn't even be against LMS having 2 3 seeds and a 4 seed, because they're just so fucking bad.
Yeah.
And there's the problem with putting them into pools like that, of course, means you're less likely to get out also because you're going to have higher levels of competition above you. But I think they showed here in Group B where even if you're not given shit above you, you still fucking lose. So I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like, get out. Fucking do something. Get out. Flash Wolves has been the only LMS team to do anything since Taipei Assassins won Season 2, and that's a whole nother ball game back then. Season 3 is our first, like, modern Worlds. And, like, fuck. Like, just get... If coming from NA, it seems real fucking rich, but get better.
Maybe HKA was having some issues with Hong Kong trying to be free or something. Fuck, I don't know.
Hey, Hong Kong was so free in Group A.
Yes, they were.
06. Their best game was against Cloud9 on day one. Maybe that's their
political statement. Maybe they just want to be so free.
All right, but let's talk about the teams that actually won games then. So G2 and Griffin had a tiebreak. They ended up in a tiebreaker, only dropping a game to each other. They split that. And then they tiebreakered, and Griffin won it. And, I mean, just to be completely honest, Griffin looked disgusting in day 2.
Yeah, they surprised the crap out of me. I don't think I gave them I gave them 3rd place in the pick'ems.
Yeah, I was being hopeful.
Yeah, and God, oh yeah, you're right. I probably should have given them number 2 and bumped Cloud9 out, but I was hoping.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they definitely surprised me. They played very well. Their games, they looked very good. I don't think they're quite like SKT level of good right now, but like they looked very good. Like even against G2, like G2 looked very good in their games. Like Perks and Caps just kept popping off.
I think like G2 looked great the first week, and they looked week 2. Griffin looked week 1 and looked great week 2. Like better than G2 week 1.
Maybe
Griffin week 2.
Maybe I'm skewed a little bit here.
But like I mean it's funny because last year everybody wanted to see Griffin at Worlds and they choked and couldn't make it out. And this is what they had been saying last year. They're like, I wonder what Griffin would be like at Worlds. And like week 1 we're like, okay, like they're good, but and then this week 2 one though, that's what we were expecting to see. We're expecting to see every lane just be fucking better than their opposite player, and they as a team be better than you. Because they were so good. And I think G2 wasn't playing up to their best either. But even with their best, I don't know that they win both those games. I mean, not that they would have had to. They just would have only had to win one. But still, like, shit. Griffin's scary right now. They earned that number 1 spot. They fucking took it by force.
Yeah, nope, I'm not going to disagree there. Griffin looked really good. G2 looked... I think they looked pretty good overall. Like, they did have a misstep on during the first week there.
I'm hoping they get more aggressive.
Second week, rather.
I hope they get more aggressive in play-ins. Like what I was talking about earlier. I want to see them turret diving level 3s like we saw them do during the season and shit. So I want to see G2... play the way that they do, not the way everybody else is, or they can just, like, casually play. I want to see them fucking go hard.
So,
like, be nuts.
Was the only 2 games that Cloud9 won against HKA? Is
Correct.
That accurate? That's really bad.
It was disappointing. So, Cloud9, they had, I think, possibly the worst read on the meta of any team at Worlds. Because, I mean, there's teams who did worse than them. HKA, Clutch, AHQ, and GAM. But I think those teams just weren't as good. Cloud9 is a pretty good team. I'm not going to say they're G2 or Griffin levels of good. But they're better than getting rolled by everyone but HKA. And one of those games they went really close. Like, they're in, honestly, like, the first week they should have fucking won the game. I think it was against Griffin where they're off the sidelines and then they fucked it up. They overpushed mid while Licorice was pushing up the side lane and had been disgusting on Fiora. But all that aside, like, Cloud9, their read on the meta just wasn't there. And it could have something to do with this is the first time that organization hasn't come in through play-ins in 5 years or whatever the fuck it is. But, like, that's group stage. If you're not on it in week 1, you better be on it in week 2. And they weren't even really on, they were better-ish in week 2, and that's it.
You're right.
Maybe.
They barely looked like they were there, honestly. Like, I knew all of the scores prior to watching any of their their matches for the week.
Right.
And so like I knew that they were going to lose the games that I watched, but I was like, how do you lose this? You're ahead. You have more turrets. You have more kills. You've got more objectives. What the fuck are you doing?
But they were still down in gold. They weren't farming lanes worth shit.
And then like the end of the game comes and I'm like, oh, that's how you lose. Yeah, okay, that's one way to do it, I guess.
It's so weird because during the season we see their team fighting be like one of their big things, like mid to late game team fighting being so good for them, and that is where they struggled the most heavily in this group. And I get that, like when you have these really good teams like G2 and Griffin, you are going to struggle harder, but they weren't playing up to their own level here, and it is really disappointing as a North American fan, as a Cloud9 fan, as just a fan of Worlds, to see a team that has that potential in no way meet it and give you a more interesting group.
I mean, they made it to semis last year, and they couldn't even make it out of groups this year. Like, that's kind of pitiful.
They've only missed groups twice ever now.
Yeah.
Out of 7 Worlds appearances, they've missed groups twice.
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry, knockouts twice. Excuse me.
And their last game, they pulled in Blabber, and they...
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely got in the very last game. That's the one thing I'm going to say.
It was Blabber and Deftly. They got pulled in for that last game.
Blabber played 2 games last week.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah. Svenskeren played against HKA in week 1. Blabber played the other 2. In week 2, Svenskeren played all but the HKA game.
Okay.
I have to give credit, though, to Cloud9's organization. I'm glad you mentioned Deftly. I would have forgotten about it. But one, great show of class. You're already out of it. Let your 7th play. Let Deftly play, and it's great that it was against HKA where he, has a good chance of winning, and did, and he played well. He did good. It is the exact opposite, in the best way, of the level of class that 100 Thieves had last year at Worlds. Because Cody-san carried that fucking team to Worlds, and they did not give him a single goddamn game, even when they were completely eliminated.
Yep.
And Cloud9 definitely was on that team, 3 weeks? Played 1 game during the season, and they said, hey, you're part of this team. Get out there. Definitely can now say he is undefeated at Worlds if he wants to be ridiculous, but otherwise...
Well, they tweeted that out.
Yeah.
Like, that was all over their Twitter. Definitely undefeated at Worlds.
But, in real life, he can just be if he never does anything else again in his pro career, he got to play and win at a World Championship. Yep. That is class by the organization. So good on Cloud9 to do that, at least.
Yep. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say about Group A. Like, Griffin's looking really good going into knockouts. Like, they get to play IG. IG didn't play so well, but they played well enough. Yeah. Like, they're not looking as on fire this year as they did last.
If we see Week 2 Griffin show up, that's a great team. If we see Week 1 Griffin show up, that's a good team.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way about G2, but and honestly, actually, no. Week 1 G2 was pretty good, very good. Week 2 G2 was good.
Yeah.
G2 needs to get back to who G2 is. And I get it. They probably didn't feel super challenged in Week 1, and then Week 2 it was too late for them to turn it on because it was the last 2 games of the day, the last game of the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
But they've got a mental reset, and I saw some interview shit where Perks was saying the same. It's we just I'm glad we got that wake up call now, so that we go back to what we are. And good. I think they can be good in the knockouts, but whew, hurry up, because what we saw in Week 2 and in Week 1 will not beat Damwon.
Yeah.
Will not. And I guess let's move to Group D then. Damwon Gaming makes it out top of the group after coming in through play-ins. And I said that, though, when we were talking about play-ins, that they were considered one of the favorites in the tournament.
I didn't believe you. I mean, I gave them the third, number 3 coming out of this, but Jesus Christ,
yeah.
TL, sucked.
Well, okay, so we got Damwon made it out, number 1. IG made number 2. HQ, our other LMS team, went 0-6. Funny, right? Anyway, and then TL going 3-3. The first game of the fucking group in week 1 beat Damwon, then they lost to IG and beat HQ. So like we're heading this week, and I was like, I think TL can still do it, and they can beat IG. And they got wrecked by Damwon, and they got wrecked by IG.
Yeah.
TL did not show up the way they needed to in week 2. Not even close. And I don't think I'm with you. Like while IG was the better team, they weren't looking like unbeatable. They weren't fucking Damwon. Like Damwon, okay, if you don't beat them, I get that. You didn't beat IG right now. That is you not living up to what you need to if you want to be a competitive Worlds team. And that's why you're not anymore. You're out. Like they and Cloud9 both were so fucking disappointing, but I'm more disappointed in TL because they're a fucking super team as far as NA is concerned. Like, nothing against the players on Cloud9. Licorice, best NA top lane, like actual American top laner. Or, NA, like American Canadian. And you got Sven Skaren in the jungle, who's been great, but they did play a bunch of blabber. I wonder if maybe Cloud9 wins a game or 2 more in week 1 if they play Sven Skaren. Who knows? Mid lane, Niski, but he's also still like this is his first year on the team, but he's not like a super pedigree mid laner. But I think he's also extremely good. Sneaky, but Sneaky's not a dominant bot laner. He's just a very, very good one. And then Zazel, he still is so young. Like he's also very good. But you can't be like, oh, Zazel Core JJ, world champion Core JJ. Well, yeah, fuck yeah. Double lift Sneaky. Fucking double lift. Jensen's been to Worlds several times. Like, while I think Niski outplayed him for a large part of the year, I mean, fine, call that one even then. Jungle, I'll call that one even too if you go Sven Skaren versus Nick Smithy. If you tell me Blabber, I'm going Nick Smithy. Oh, top lane, Impact, multiple world champion fucking Impact. Like, Licorice is really good, but when it comes to the clutch, I'm putting my money on Impact. Like, that team needs to fucking do something.
It almost feels like they come to NA, build this super team, and then they can crush NA, but like they're just still so far behind the rest of the world. Like, we saw it at MSI. MSI, we got dumpstered.
No, MSI, they fucking got second. You can't say they got dumpstered. They beat IG in a best of 5 in 4 games heavily, and they got dumpstered 3-0 by G2.
Okay, I'm going to say overall, we got dumpstered.
No, that's a full... You can't get second and say overall you got dumpstered. That's not true.
Yeah, if you didn't take first, you lost. Sorry. Okay, so they still did not win. They did not carry us. Like, I mean, they were supposed to be our saviors of LCS. Like, Cloud9 always quietly does well. Team Liquid just does well. Like, they do it...
Never at Worlds. Nobody besides Cloud9 ever does shit at Worlds, though. And this was the first time that, like, maybe we quietly had hope in the back of our heads that they would.
Yeah, but with Core JJ this year and Impact and Double Lift being on, like, the top of his game right now.
Yeah.
Like, and then they poached Jensen from Cloud9.
Yeah.
Like,
just like they poached Impact a year before.
Like, there's no reason why they should have lost this group. Like, okay, Damwon was very good. Like,
yeah.
They surprised the hell out of me.
And Grant, like, if Splice ends up in this group and Damwon ends up in Group B, IG and TL probably make it out. But I don't give a fuck. If you can't beat 2 other good teams, then I don't care. Don't talk to me if you can't beat 2 other teams and you're a number 1 seed.
Agreed.
Like, if I thought it was okay for there to be 2 number 1 seeds from the same region and still have, like, group diversity, then I would say, yeah, fucking hand them out 2 to Korea, 1 to China, 1 to EU, NA, you're relegated to 2, 3, 4s. Like, in my one that my serendipity, or not serendipity, my, what's the word? Hypothetical one that I've been talking about. Like, for fuck's sake. Like, we didn't even have a number 1 seed last year, actually. Like, because fucking TSM got riggedy wrecked at MSI, and we gave it up to LMS. But then LMS was hot garbage at Worlds, and Cloud9 got to semifinals, and we got it back. But it's just like, fuck.
Yeah, like, TL disappoints me more than Cloud9 does. Like, they picked up 1 win more. Granted, their wins were a little bit more diverse than beating the same team twice. But, I don't know. Like, this was a really disappointing showing from Team Liquid. Like, they're going to come back next year. They're going to destroy NA again, like they always do.
Maybe.
But they should feel bad about it. Like,
so Heather's thoughts on it. She sent those off beforehand. TL's draft looked a little wonky in their matches. Ban the Kiana guys. Anyway, she said, I know Jensen shit the bed hard. Which actually goes with what Tiger's saying in the chat. Like, Jensen with Cloud9 has generally looked pretty damn good at Worlds. And he did not show up the same this Worlds. But I feel like that's been the case with him all season, where Jensen was like a great solo lane carry for Cloud9, and on Liquid he's been meh. And I think that's just because Cloud9 put a ton of jungle mid focus in.
Sure.
And even bot to mid focus and top. Like, they just funneled everything towards Jensen focus, getting him ahead. And on TL, that's not the way that team plays. While they do give him some attention, it's not the same. And I don't think, one, he's fully adjusted yet. And two, if you're not given that sort of attention and you're not going to just straight up get solo kills constantly, which he can do. I'm not fucking talking shit about him. But it's that he needs to adjust and then get back to that level. Because he was getting solo kills, but also with pressure and assistance.
yeah.
Like, oh, I'll come burn his flash, and then you solo kill him later. Now it's like, okay, no, he has his flash and his heal. Fucking kill him anyway. And, like, he was really close. That game against IG, there was a play where it was so close, but he still lost it. And then continued, and then he went from there. The lane went fucking off a cliff. But anyway, he is getting a lot of hate on Reddit, or it was at least that day, which Heather commented, I know he's getting a lot of shit. Or he shit the bed hard, but I think he's getting too much hate for it online. The entire team underperformed, and she really liked Double Lift's response where he was saying, he's like, no, like, I underperformed, other people did, like, don't fucking just... Apparently people were flaming Impact and Jensen, and it's ridiculous. Like I said, that's a super team, as far as NA is concerned.
I'm not going to shit on this team. Like, this isn't the
it.
team that I will shit on. Like, it's disappointing that they didn't make it out being the super team that they are. But, like, you make valid points. Like, Jensen, like, was really good on Cloud9, but he has to come to a different team dynamic on Team Liquid.
Yeah.
Like, Team Liquid, like, they're funneling all of their gold into Double Lift, and that's where they want that gold. Like, if you're used to, like, Sneaky can play without having much gold.
Yeah, he has, like, support levels of gold almost, it feels like. I mean, that's obviously a drastic exaggeration. But
and so, like...
so different.
Yeah, Jensen got so much gold on Cloud9, it's really easy, like, I mean, not really easy, but it's relatively easy to carry your team if all the gold's in you.
Yeah, if you got another item in your belt, like, fuck.
Yeah, like, I mean, the way that Team Liquid plays, like, they funnel the gold elsewhere, and, like, that's how they play. Like, Jensen is a great player, and I think he's going to come back next year and just, you know, do Jensen things and continue to do really well, but, like, NA is, like, so sad right now.
Yeah, and actually, I think, I wasn't thinking of it when I said it, but, like, as you were expounding upon that point of him not having the same resources, I think that's a big part of why Niski looked better than Jensen this split. I think Jensen is the better mid laner.
Okay.
But it's a resource dynamic, because when they're playing each other, Niski is getting Svenskeren help. Xmithy is giving his help to top, bottom, and middle. Like, they do spread it out pretty well. Like, but there's more mid help on Cloud9. So, like, when you see those two going against each other and Niski's winning, it's because of the dynamics of the map as a whole.
Sure.
Because I do think Jensen's better than Niski. I absolutely do. But I also think it's better for Cloud9 now that they have Niski. Like, now that he's completely integrated, if they can put more focus into, like, getting Licorice way ahead. Because, I mean, we saw it on that Fiora. Dude's fucking dirty. So fucking dirty.
Yeah.
But, back to TL. It just disappointing showing. North America as a whole, disappointing showing. It makes you wonder what they can do heading into next year. There's already owners and players talking, and analysts talking about how NA, the semi-pros, the amateur stuff, all needs to be improved. Talking about best of ones are not ideal either. And, like, people are pointing out, well, like, Europe has best of ones. Well, yeah, but Europe's, like, fucking top league shit is fantastic.
Yeah.
They have multiple regional leagues that then play a Champions League, and then there's leagues below that stuff even, whereas all we have is the academies, and the academies aren't even used properly by most teams. So, you know, like, there's and of course then you just talk about, like, server population, blah, 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 blah. But...
Yeah. I mean, it baffles me. There's no way that there's not better players in NA. like we know that there are challengers, we know that there are masters, we know that there are like top tier players.
Yep.
Why are we not trying to get more of them? Like, I think the problem is that most of those people can make more money streaming than they can playing.
So that is part of it. Another thing, and something that's being heavily said about like by owners and such, is that right now, because NA, you don't have those underleagues well developed to develop these players and give them a lot of opportunities, right? So the place you get opportunities is in the LCS itself. 18 game splits. That's it. 18 game splits. You don't want to risk dropping games because you played some fucking rookie to see if they're good. And if you only play one game, you don't get shit out of that. You got to play somebody like 4 or 5 games, right? So nobody's going to risk their entire split on trying to find out if somebody's good, unless you're Cloud9.
Yeah, that's
and
a
that's
good
why
point.
nobody gets like turned up. And then also, and it's a complaint I've seen on Reddit, and Reddit's totally right. A lot of the academy leagues are still filled with like pros who are never going to be pros again, like former pro.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to bring up. I was going to the academy teams. It's like the academy teams, they get so little love. Like they're basically
pro retirement homes.
Basically,
except for like 3 teams, like TL, TSM, Cloud9.
Who was it this year? Wasn't it Fox that had a good? Not Fox. Who didn't Fox's academy team win Academy Worlds?
No, I thought TSM's did.
Was it TSM?
Could have been. I don't know. Like
they at least made it to finals or something like that. Like they did really well academy, but like the academy is given so little love that like you're right. They don't have anyone to push them harder, and like if any of these teams are going home the second they're done, that would be the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Like I hope all of these teams, like I hope Clutch is still there playing. Like play solo queue, scrim the other teams that are still there.
I'm gonna be honest. None of the other teams who are still there want to scrim them. Any of these 3 teams.
Not the teams that are still in, but like scrim the other teams.
They've all gone home. They're not gonna stay around to play with NA because NA sucked.
Yeah, you're right.
But no, like if you're like, oh, we're already here. Like, part of me goes, yes, stay and play solo queue, but also the other part of me goes, your mental's shot. Solo queue does you no good right now.
Take a week and then keep playing. Like I mean,
if they were in NA, yeah, but they're in Europe.
Well, I say send them to Korea.
I think a lot of these teams will. I mean, a lot of the top NA teams
they do have like an extended boot camp.
Yeah, they do a preseason like month warm up.
They need like from now until the start of the next season. Like give them like a month off and then ship them over there.
So a 2-month warm up.
Okay, yeah, that sounds about right.
You only got about 3 months off.
Fucking A, yeah. Give them a month off and then ship them over to Korea. Just fucking make them grind. Like, who cares if Blabber can get #1 EU? Fucking send him to Korea. If he can get #1 Korea, you've got something there. If you can't
getting #1 EU West is actually something still. Oh. EU West ladder's serious shit too.
Okay.
NA's just isn't.
Then we need to smuggle Europeans into America and give them like fucking passports.
We have
no. We need to sneak them in and give them like they can play for NA right now.
Yeah.
Not 3 years from now. Like
no, they can play right away. Just only 2 per team.
No, we need all of them.
So the problem that you're referring to though is that our solo queue ladder is bad, and that has a lot of sources. 1, our server population is lower. 2, the pros play in LA. The ping in LA is like 60. Like, and that's what, to be fair, all the pros then, you do all your practice, of course, and you would anyway, like scrims and shit on the tournament realm. But, like, solo queue is not the same thing here as it is there because of several factors. Yeah. And it's not what Korea is, even for those same factors. Korea server's bigger. It's also more localized. Also, people have fucking faster internet. Like, all those things make servers better. Oh, and the game's more popular, like, percentage of the population. In all of those factors, NA becomes lower than Europe, China, and Korea, and that is why we are worse than them. It's just the nature of it. But then you add on to it that our lower leagues aren't as good, and it's just going to exacerbate it. Like, because when it comes down to it, it's the same thing when you think of like World Cup with soccer, right? North America, we have so many of the most ridiculous athletes in the world. Why do we never get very far in the World Cup? Because we don't give a shit about soccer. People are playing Halo instead of League of Legends in the U.S. As opposed to other countries. It's like CSGO, same thing. And then, oh, in the U.S. we play basketball and football. If we don't play soccer, fuck soccer. But if we all played soccer, we'd have a pretty good soccer team. Oh, then we would probably also have really good like pro leagues. Like, I mean, the structure is good for it, but it's just like there's not enough talent in there. Our minor leagues are terrible. We do the college system. Honestly, the college system is the worst thing for like feeding into pro sports ever, but that's what we do because that's just what America built up years and years and years ago. And by years, I mean like decades and centuries. But still.
Yeah.
Like, that's just what we do, and it's a terrible system to like develop pro talent. But if you were to have enough interest and put enough effort into making a system for it, then you can build more interest and eventually grow it. But that is hard and it takes a lot of time. And the giant disadvantage something like an esport has is who knows if it has that kind of time to ever actually come to fruition.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there are certain games that have been around long enough that you would think that they've got like a backing, but again, every year things could like, completely change. Like 3 years ago, Fortnite was not a thing. Now it's like you can go make $1 million off playing Fortnite and doing it real well.
I mean, you can make a ton of money playing League too, but
well, yeah. I mean, you get your salary and then like that, but like.
And if you win championships, you get money there. And if you don't kid yourself. The top pros are making a shitload of money in NA. That's a big reason they come to NA. They make more here than they do in the other countries.
Sure. Yeah, well, I'm just saying Fortnite's killing everything. That's all I'm going to say. Fuck Fortnite.
Chase wishes it would have stayed in that black hole.
Actually, no. The black hole days were like the days where I had fucking garbage people playing on every other game that I played.
All the 12-year-olds came back to League.
Yeah, I was like, no, come back, Fortnite, come back.
All right, let's move out of groups and move away from NA until next year NA. Let's talk about quarterfinals quick. Damwon G2.
Oh, this one is really hard because I discounted Damwon so hard coming into groups, and G2 they performed pretty okay. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna say that they were the best team that I saw in groups, but Damwon wasn't either. I'm gonna lean into G2 because reasons.
All right, Heather has 3-1 G2.
Okay.
She says that this one sucks because it comes down to only one of these teams advancing. And also, we won't be able to see a G2 SKT final because they're in the same half of the bracket. But for me, it's funny because coming into groups, and especially coming out play-ins, people said that Damwon's bot lane was exploitable. And I didn't really see that in the group stage. They actually played quite well. I mean, like, everybody's like, oh yeah, it's Nagiri and Showmaker in top and mid who are amazing, and they were very, very good and a lot of fun to watch. And the bot lane was good too, and that I feel like that's going to be the test here, because if G2 plays aggressive LEC MSI G2 and they go fucking Yenko shows up at bot lane at level 2, and he shows up again level 4, and then he shows up again level 6, and they're turret diving shit, maybe they do exploit that bot lane. But I would have felt like Double Lift and Core JJ should have been able to do that if that were the case, and they definitely didn't. So now I'm concerned. I think this will go 5, just because I think both these teams are good, but it will only go 5 if G2 gets their shit together. But right now I'm leaning on the side of like what I've seen, and I'm going 3-2 Damwon. Next is SKT and Splice. I think that's the easiest one to call. I'm calling 3-0 SKT. They have looked like the best team in the tournament, and Splice does not look like a top 8 team in the tournament. What I mentioned earlier, if the groups could have been drawn like differently, sort of thing, or like if you're just saying, oh, it's FPX, J-Team, GAM, and any other team who didn't make it out in this group, TL makes it out of this group, Cloud9 makes it out of this group, Clutch makes it out of this group. I absolutely don't think that Splice is good by making out of this group. I don't think they're very good by making out of this group. They're okay. They're good. They're good enough to make it out of this group, which I don't think was very good. So yeah, 3-0 SKT for me. You?
Yeah, I think SKT is just gonna stomp their faces in.
Yeah.
I would be very surprised if Splice pulls a game.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So let's bounce down to Griffin versus IG.
This one's really...
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. She has 3-0, yeah. Oof, sorry, Splice, but Xerxane looked so happy to shake Faker's hand, and also so sad they drafted into them.
So Griffin, IG. I want to give it to IG, but Griffin looks so good. They just straight up crushed Fnatic. I'm giving it to Griffin right now. I'm gonna say 3. I bet it goes 5. No, I bet it goes 4. I bet it's gonna be a 3-1 Griffin.
I've got the same.
And I feel bad, but whatever.
I just think Griffin, day 2, or week 2, whatever you fucking want to call it, I've been going back and forth. Week 2 Griffin looked so good. They were playing aggressive, they were playing just better than all their lane counterparts, and while IG, the Shy looked really good in week 2, he was also giving Vladimir way too much.
Yeah.
So I don't think the Shy and Rookie are going to be made fools of, but I also don't think they're going to be allowed to run rampant the way like Liquid let them. It's like, hey, take whatever champions you want. Also, let's give Jackie Love Kaisa. None of these players are known for those at all. Wait, Jackie Love has a skin for it? Oh no!
Yeah.
Like, or no, I guess is it for Kaisa or is it for Xayah? Yeah, Kaisa. It's like fucking.
At least I'm pretty sure it's Kaisa.
I think so.
Yeah.
I've got 3-1 Griffin right now. 3-2 for Heather. Hard one to call, but I think Griffin played so well, it's hard to say they'd lose.
Yeah, like, it's really hard to judge people on what they did the first week because, like, even if they did if they went really hot the first week and they looked pretty meh the second week, who's to say that they're going to go back to looking hot? Like, I'm going to go with what I saw more recently. They, looked pretty meh.
Recency bias seems like the better bias in this situation.
Yeah, so...
It's more likely that they, figured out what shit they had wrong rather than, oh, we got lucky and just went crazy second week.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, FPX and Fnatic.
Fnatic 3-0. Get the fuck out of here.
You got 3-0, dang. Heather's got a 3-1 no comment on it. It's just 3-1. It's the only one she didn't put a comment for. Or no, she didn't put one for G2. Or no, yeah, she did. It was a long one. I'm having a hard time with this one a little bit. Because I feel like FPX definitely underperformed in the group, but I also feel like that has in part to do with them not being pushed.
They were the best midget.
They were the best midget, but they're all okay. I still have a hard time just saying, "Oh, that's all they are," because they were number 1 coming out of China.
I mean, if
RNG's not bad,
if I can flick him in the forehead,
IG's not bad
by having to bend down to like, oh, you're cute, go away.
But so that's like if SKT was in that group and they kind of around, but I knew they had beaten Griffin and Damwon, I'm like, okay, something seems up here, and so I feel like FPX will lose game 1. I'm gonna call it right now. I'm gonna just say they lose game 1. Fnatic comes out of the gate having looked really good in day 2. They went 3-0. FPX fucking definitely losing that game. But it's after that I'm worried. Because I don't know. Maybe they lose game 2, but it's closer. Then they win game 3, and then they win game... I don't fucking know, because this team's obviously not bad. They were just in a garbage group, and they played down to their competition. Do they play up to their competition with Fnatic, and then just fucking wipe the floor with them?
Yeah, but they still lost 2 matches playing down to their competition.
Right. No, I totally get that.
Fnatic lost 2 games playing up to their competition. Teams that I say are better than Fun Plus.
Yeah, I think right now I'm 3-2 Fnatic. I want to say Fnatic, and part of it's my brain going, dude, just pick the chalk. The chalk is fucking Fun Plus right now. They were one of the favorites for the tournament coming in. They had a shitty group, but... that doesn't. Splice had a shitty play-ins, and they still made it out of this group.
Well, yeah, I suppose.
That's where my brain's at. Is I saw Splice do this shit, and then look better going forward, and I'm very cautious that FunPlus will do the same thing and make me look ridiculous by being like, oh yeah, FunPlus is garbage. And I'm like, I just think they're...
I don't hope I'm wrong, but I'm not going to be terribly upset if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I don't see Fnatic beating Griffin. in a best of 5. I don't see.
I hope Fnatic beats Fun Plus because
I definitely don't see Fun Plus beating Griffin in a best of 5.
Same.
And Fnatic has a better chance of beating Griffin in a best of 5. So
at least as we've seen them so far, because
yeah.
if Fun Plus pops off against Fnatic, then I might be like, oh. Right now though, I don't see unless G2 looks crazy against Damwon, I don't see anything outside of Koreans in the final. SKT looks so fucking good. Damwon looks so fucking good. And their competition over there's G2 and Splice. I'm sorry. But I have a hard time even thinking good G2 beats this good SKT right now. Because this SKT looks gross. So I've got SKT going all the way to the final on that side. And then on the other side, Griffin looks better than IG, and Fnatic and Fun Plus don't look as good as Griffin either. Yeah. You've got the same as me, Griffin and SKT in the final, and SKT win. That's what I've got locked in right now. I think the only difference I have Dom1 over G2.
That one's tough.
But I'm not locked in. I think that the two hard ones are G2 and Fnatic's matchups with Dom1 and Fun Plus, respectively.
Yeah.
Everything else seems like a no-brainer, though.
I need far fewer points to get my icons this year. I don't think I got the icon last year.
Yeah, you missed out on one of them or something. But yeah. Right now, we've got Halder's actually leading it. Meaty Mitts was leading it the day before that, and Heather was leading the first day.
Let's see.
But yeah, Heather's in second right now. You and I are down towards the bottom. I think you separated yourself from me a little bit.
I'm better than you. I'm tied for 8th.
Okay, where am I at? I'm tied for 12th.
Last.
No.
You're tied for second to last.
Kangi's in last. He's helping me. That's why I'm if I would have gone chalk, I could have been fucking top couple. I probably would have been in first had I just gone with my initial chalk feelings.
I mean, I can't really
next year.
Can't really say much. There was 5 points separating us. That was one game.
Seriously, next year, fuck all my feelings and rooting for NA. I'm going to just pick what I'm yep, this is probably what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then shit'll be crazy again, and I'll still lose.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that does it though for episode 34 of League of Vloggers. We've got some good quarterfinals coming up here. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it's 3 Koreans and who in the semifinal, or if we get a couple upsets.
When do matches start back up? Today's
it's Saturday and Sundays.
Okay, so we're back to normal days.
Yeah,
for matches.
yeah. There's 2 best of 5s on Saturday, 2 best of 5s on Sunday, and then the following week it's just 1 each. Our next episode won't be until Wednesday. However, I've got family in town through Tuesday, so we'll be here on Wednesday.
Wednesday the 30th.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's the 30th. But yeah, so we'll see you guys on Wednesday. Until then, enjoy the matches, and cheers.
Cheers.